Have you ever noticed something interesting about people? Most of us can survive hard times. We can endure pain. We can push through struggle. We can stay strong when life is unfair. But here's the real question. What happens when that same person gains power? Power doesn't always change who you are. It reveals who you've always been. When someone has nothing, they talk about fairness. When someone has no control, they speak about justice and humility. But when they finally hold power in their hands, do they use it to lift others up? Or do they use it to place themselves above everyone else? Abraham Lincoln once said, "Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." Because struggle shows strength, but power exposes character. And today, we're going to talk about what that truly means. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." At first, this quote sounds simple, but the more you think about it, the deeper it becomes. Most people can survive hardship. When life is difficult, we learn to endure. We adapt. We tolerate pain. We push forward, even when we feel weak. Adversity forces us to be patient. It teaches discipline. It builds resilience. When we have no choice, we find a way to keep going. But power is different. Power gives you options. Power gives you control. Power gives you the ability to decide, not just for yourself, but for others. And that's where character is revealed. When a person has nothing, it's easy to talk about honesty. When a person has no authority, it's easy to speak about justice, fairness, and equality. But when that same person gains power, when they are no longer forced to be humble, when no one can easily question them, that's when the truth comes out. Do they listen or do they dominate? Do they protect others or do they protect their ego? Do they use power to serve or to control? Some people, once given power, forget where they came from. They forget the struggles that shaped them. They forget the hands that helped them rise. Power makes them louder, harsher, and more distant. But people with true character react differently. Let's talk about something we see every day, but rarely stop to think about. Some people change when they gain power. Not immediately, not loudly, but slowly and quietly. At the beginning, they are grateful. They remember the long nights, the failures, the rejection. They remember what it felt like to be ignored, underestimated, and powerless. But over time, something happens. They get a title. They get money. They get influence. People start listening to them. People stop questioning them. And little by little, they forget. They forget how hard the journey was. They forget the pain that shaped them. They forget the moments when they needed help, guidance, or a second chance. They forget that someone once opened a door for them. Now, they are the gatekeeper. And instead of opening doors for others, they close them. They say, "No one helped me." They say, "This is just how the system works." They say, "They should struggle like I did." But what they forget is this. Struggle was never meant to be repeated. It was meant to be understood. Power reveals whether a person learned wisdom from hardship or only learned bitterness. Because power does not erase character, it amplifies it. Some people use power to feel important. They speak down to others. They demand respect instead of earning it. They confuse fear with leadership. They believe authority gives them value. But real value doesn't come from control. It comes from impact. Now let's look at the other kind of person. The one with true character. When they gain power, they don't become louder. They become calmer. They don't become distant. They become more present. They don't forget where they came from. They honor it. They remember the struggle. And instead of saying, "I suffered, so you should too," they say, "I suffered, so let me make it easier for you." They use their position to protect the vulnerable. They use their influence to give chances, not excuses. They use their voice to speak for those who don't have one. This kind of person understands something powerful. Power is temporary. Character is permanent. Titles disappear. Money changes hands. Influence fades. But the way you treated people when you have power, that is what remains. So the real question isn't, what would you do if you had power? The real question is, who would you become? Would you forget your past, or would you let it guide you? Would you use power to feed your ego, or to build something meaningful? Because in the end, power doesn't test your strength. It tests your heart. And that test is happening every single day in small decisions, in quiet moments, long before anyone is watching. Right now, you may not have power, you may not have influence, you may not have a title, money, or authority. And that's okay. Because this moment, this stage of your life is preparing you. One day, you will have power. In some form. In your career, in your community, or simply in the choices you make every single day. And when that day comes, remember this. Do not let power change your character. Let your character control your power. It's easy to dream about success. It's easy to want recognition. It's easy to imagine being in charge. But what truly matters is not whether you gain power, it's who you become when you do. Because power will give you freedom. Freedom to choose. Freedom to decide. Freedom to act without permission. And freedom reveals the truth. So start building your character now, when no one is watching. When you don't benefit from being kind. When staying honest costs you something. Learn to respect people who can do nothing for you. Learn to listen before you speak. Learn to stay humble when you are praised, and stay grounded when you are ignored. If you can lead yourself with discipline today, you'll be able to lead others with integrity tomorrow. If you can stay kind without power, you'll stay human with power. Because real leaders don't rise to feel superior, they rise to serve. And the strongest people are not those who dominate, but those who protect. So, wherever you are right now, whatever you're struggling with, remember this. Your future power is being shaped by your present choices. Make sure that when power finally finds you, it finds a person worthy of it. So as we come to the end of this message, I want you to remember one simple idea. Strive to become the kind of person who, when given power, makes the people around them feel safe, not afraid. Because true power is not about control. It's not about status. And it's not about proving that you're better than others. True power is about responsibility. It's about how you treat people when you don't have to be kind, but choose to be anyway. The world doesn't need more powerful people with weak character. It needs strong character in positions of power. So wherever life takes you, whatever level of influence you reach, promise yourself this. You will use your power to lift, not to crush. To guide, not to intimidate. To inspire, not to dominate.